Hello and welcome to today's video. In today's video, I'm doing something that I wanted to do for a very long time and I'm really excited for it. And this time I'm actually excited for it, and not like other times where I'm fixing something and I'm just, pretending having fun. But anyways, the reason why it took me so long to actually do it is because I just wanted to give myself some time to think about what I actually want. Um, and in the end, I decided. So, as you can see, today we are upgrading audio again. You saw me in the previous video, I think, not the previous video, the video where I put tweeters. So, it's not the first time I'm doing audio upgrade on this car, but I'm just not happy with it, and I wanted something more advanced and like you know higher fidelity, higher quality sound, and it's just not possible with cheap brands. So in the end, I decided to just go for Volkswagen because they have really good reviews, and this particular set was pretty cheap. Um, and there are many reasons why I chose it, but I'm gonna go through them further in the video. But yeah, we might as well start with actually unboxing and seeing what's in the box. Okay, so let's start with the unboxing. Um, so just basically lifting this lid up like so, and the first thing we're seeing is some marketing material from the place where I bought the speakers from, where I ordered them from, which is nice. Oh, they also gave me air fresheners. That's cool. Also, too, they knew I have two cars. Anyways, and this is the actual instruction manual. Alright. So, next thing is this protective cover. I don't have place to put it. I'm gonna put it like here. And what should we start with? Maybe the tweeters? Yeah, let's start with the tweeters. Okay, starting with the tweeter. I have to say, it has very nice weight to it. It feels really premium. Well, maybe because it is. But yeah. Okay. So there is the tweeter. It's the inverted cone aluminum design, if I'm saying it correctly, and it's meant to produce really nice and precise high frequencies. So I'm really excited to hear how it sounds. Again, it has a really nice way to it. Yeah, so this is the tweeter. Next step, we have the mid-range speaker. So it has a grill and it has a mounting ring and a gasket. So that's nice that they included that. So and this is the mid-range. As you can see, it looks pretty nice. I really like that comb design. It's pretty cool. Not that I would be able to see it, but because of the locations where I'm gonna put it, but still pretty cool. And the last thing that we have to look at is the woofers, the mid woofers, which are packaged in similar fashion to the rest of the speakers. Again, we have that mounting gasket and adapter if you want to use it, but I'm not gonna use them because, well, you're gonna see in a second why I'm not gonna use them. And there it is. This is the mid woofer. It's really nice. Again, the same style of cone material. And also, as you can see, this is why I'm not gonna use the mounting ring, and also why I chose this particular set, because as you can see, there's all these holes, these mounting holes, which will practically perfectly, well, absolutely perfectly fit my factory mounting locations. And the last thing that's left in the box that we have to look at is the crossovers. So this is a three-way system, obviously, so to actually run it, there's two ways to run it. Either you can run it active, or you can run it with passive crossovers, which I'm gonna do now. Let's unbox the crossovers, and this is the crossover. So if you don't know what crossovers do, they basically, so basically the idea of this is to split the power, like the single channel that is coming from your amplifier or your head unit, which contains all the frequencies, and then divide them to each of your different speakers. So you have your mid-bass, you have your mid-range, and then tweeter. And this is basically making sure that all the speakers are gonna get the dedicated signal that they're meant to use to work. That's it. And I'm gonna show you later where I'm gonna actually install this thing. So after we saw everything that's in the box, there are also like additional mounting cups for the tweeters and some bolts and stuff, but I'm gonna show them later. I might not use a whole lot of them, but we'll see. Anyways, let's start with the installation. Okay, so I started disassembling and you know, I'm basically laying out how the things will fit. I removed the original tweeter that was sitting in the dash. Yeah, in the last video there were, you know, the upgraded speakers in the last video that I did, you know, for upgrading the audio. There were, you know, I was installing upgraded tweeters, but I removed them for the simple reason that they just, not that they sounded bad, but they just sounded way too bright, because they didn't have you know, a good, you know, crossover. They just had a like an enclosure with a capacitor, which did a horrible job in actually separating the you know, the information. And when you turn up the volume, they sounded way too harsh and way too bright, and you know, actually kind of distorted, so I just removed them and went back with the original tweeters because they sounded better with the setup that is currently in the car. But I'm pleased to say that the mid is fitting perfectly in here. And you may ask, what about the tweeter? Well, for that we will need some thinking out of the box, or in this case, thinking out of the dash. Stop laughing yet? Okay, I'm gonna continue. Anyways, this is a tweeter, and I'm planning to either install it onto the A pillar, or I might just install it somewhere in this somewhere in that corner. But we'll see. It depends. And for the mid bass, I have to remove the old speakers, which are not that old. I also upgraded those. They are Pioneers, like coaxial speakers, and actually they sounded pretty good, but obviously they cannot match for this. So yeah, I'm gonna continue with that. Okay, so with the old speaker removed, you can just see how massive the new one looks compared to the old one. And also this one looks pretty cheap. Well, I don't want to hate on Pioneer because I actually like Pioneer. I have an active subwoofer in my Golf MK3, which you can see part of her behind me here. And I'm really happy with it. It makes perfect bass, and it's perfect for what I'm using it for, and it perfectly complements the original system that's in Golf MK3. So I like Pioneer, but just for, you know, in this case, I just wanted to go with something premium and like, better. So I chose those speakers. And yeah, but Pioneer is also a good option if you're looking for like a really cheap upgrade for your stock speakers if they're blown or they don't work, or you want a little bit more, which these can't really provide that much more. But I definitely recommend them. They were pretty good and they sounded pretty nice, and the bass was okay. It was a pretty good bass for what they are. So, yeah. And I test mounted this into the door and it fitted perfectly. So I'm really happy with it. So the next step is to actually make an adapter harness because I don't want to cut the original wiring, so I'm just gonna make my own like adapters, which can slide into the new connections. Um, and I'm gonna begin with that, and I'm gonna show you. Maybe I'll show some of it, but it's pretty much just crimping wiring and making wiring. So it's not that interesting to watch. So I'm just gonna make a segment in the video, maybe showing you some of it. But yeah. Okay, so I'm currently making the harness for the woofers, and I'm basically measuring it like this because I want it to be equal length for both sides. I'm just gonna snip it here, and then here, and we have the two wires that I'm gonna use for to powering them. And then I have a bag of different I don't know what it's called in English. In my language we call them shoes, like electrical shoes. I don't know. So I have a smaller size ones and I have a bigger one. for the plus and the minus, and I also have male ends that will go into the actual you know, plug, an original plug. And yeah, I'm just basically gonna expose the wire and then just clamp those new connectors on, and that's it. By the way, if you don't have this tool and you're doing wiring jobs, I definitely recommend you buy it, because it makes exposing the wire so much easier. Just kind of, you know, pinch the cable like this and then wait, and then just snip it like this. Makes it so much easier. Even if you use it one time, it's still worth it, in my opinion. Okay, so the two harnesses are done. This end will go into the original plug, and this one will go to the new speaker plug. And that's pretty much it. I'm ready to install the woofer into the door now. Okay, so I'm also done with the mid-range adapter, you can call it this way. This end is for the speaker terminals, and this one goes directly into the crossover. And so I kind of disassembled this part of the dash, and I moved the speaker plugs down here. They usually sit here, you can access it from here. I just moved it underneath the air duct, because the crossover will live down here. I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna mount it. And yeah, so now I'm ready to feed the wire for the mid-range. Okay, so the way I'm gonna connect the crossover is pretty simple. So this is the main channel, which contains all the frequencies. This comes from the head unit, and this is the plug that goes to the mid-bass woofer down there. So basically this connects to the you know, the crossover, and this connects to the mid-bass channel. And then here we also have the tweeter terminals, and I also made where is it? I also made the harness I showed you for the mid-range that be just fed through here, like so. Like so, and there is the terminals for the mid-range. And yeah. Okay, so I'm pleased to say that all the wiring on this side is done and it's working perfectly. Also, I think it looks pretty clean. You can see my adaptive harnesses plugged in. Also, yeah, the other speaker wires, everything is connected. I tested it, it's working perfectly. So yeah, I'm ready to put this in there and finish this side. Okay, so everything is done. The wiring here is also completed. Everything is connected and it's working. And now the only thing left is to put the crossover in here and close it off. Also wanted to test the speakers and see how they sound, and they definitely sound a lot better than the the previous setup that I had. Um, but the thing is, the power is just too low. Like, my radio is claiming that it can produce 55 watts, but that's its peak power. So in reality, the actual usable power is 20 watts RMS, which is quite low for those speakers. So they cannot, the magnets cannot reproduce the sound that great with such low power because they're rated for 80 watts RMS. So I opted to go for an amplifier. So I chose the Pioneer GM-A3702. You can see it here. The reason that I chose it is that it's the best value for money. I think you can't get better than this. So this is the first reason why I chose it. Also, it has a really low distortion levels. I mean, the level of preciseness is really high on that amplifier. And yeah, so these are the two main reasons that I chose this one. It's a 2-channel amplifier and it has 60 watts RMS at 4 ohms and 95 at 2 ohms. And also, I think bridged, it produces 350 watts, if I'm not mistaken, RMS on 4 ohms. I can't remember the 2 ohms, but doesn't matter. For my car, it's 4 ohms anyways, and I'm using it to power speakers. So, and not the sub. So this is the cheapest best option. It has really low levels of distortion, perfect for those speakers because they are really precise. As you know, vocal is about sound quality, so I need something that can produce clean power. And I also bought an amplifier wiring kit, which includes the power wire from the battery to the amp, also the ground cable, the RCA connections from the radio to send the signal from the radio to the amplifier, and also a remote turn on remote wire, so that the amp turns on only when the radio is on, so that it does not drain the battery. Also, it has fuses and some wiring connectors and stuff included as well, so that's pretty neat. And yeah, so I got a little bit carried away and forgot to film, but basically I started disassembling. I disassembled most of the stuff that I needed to disassemble. I put the radio slightly, and also remove the glove box. I was thinking to put the amplifier here, but there's not enough space. But it's not a problem. I needed to remove that anyways because I needed to run the wire for the speaker wire for the crossover. As you can see here, I don't know if you can see it. You see that blue wire, that thin blue wire? This is the signal wire for the amplifier, and then these are the RCA connections. So basically, for those two connections, I just push the wire from here and then put it out of down there. I just removed the fuse. I don't know what I removed. I just removed the two pieces of the fuse box cover down there. You can see them, those two pieces, and then I just kind of put my hand in there and just kind of grabbed it. It can be a little bit tricky, but it's doable. You can remove this piece, but I just opted not to. It's doable without actually removing it, and I just wanted to remove as few stuff as possible. So yeah, these are the two connections. So they are run from here, from the radio, all the way to the amplifier. And yeah, I'm gonna put it in the back because there's no space in the front. Just there isn't enough space around the dashboard, like inside the dashboard. So yeah. Um, the other thing that I removed is also this plastic trim here, and also behind me. And as you can see here, these are all the wires. So this is the power wire, this is the speaker wire, um, the signal wire, the RCA, and everything is run nice and neatly using the factory spots, as you can see, where there's like brackets that hold the wiring. So I use the factory ones, and it looks really good in my opinion. The only thing that's left to actually put to wire, like I need to obviously connect the amplifier and the crossover here, but I also need to buy an extra wire to go to this channel, because I had wire only for one of the channels, so I need to buy more so that I can complete that, and also need to find a ground for the amplifier. And that's pretty much it. I'm gonna show you when I figure out the situation with the ground, and I also connect, you know, the speakers and the amplifier. Okay, so as you saw in the last clip, everything is connected on the right side of the car, and now I also connected everything on the left side, and yeah, I'm ready to put the crossover back in the dash. This is the new connection, obviously, from the amp, and I'm gonna see how it sounds. I already tested if it's working, and it's working, so that's very good news. Okay, so it's been like 2 months since the last clip you saw on the Czech speaker video, and I found myself a nice little filming location here, so I decided to finally finish that video because it's been way too long. But I just wanted to experience the speakers and the amplifier that I installed a bit more, so that I can tell you my honest opinion about them, and if the upgrade was actually worth it. And to be honest, yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I really enjoy how those speakers sound, especially in the higher end of the sound. For example, you know, the higher frequencies. They sound pretty good. But I don't know. I feel like I still prefer the sound of the original speakers in my Golf MK3. So the system sounds pretty good for the constraints I had, and by constraints I mean that I didn't want to ruin the originality of the car, because at its current state it's pretty much completely OEM. Like, the only thing that really is upgraded is the sound system, and I just couldn't bring myself to doing anything crazy, because I don't like overly complicated modifications. I prefer the OEM look, hence why I still rock the OEM wheels, because I like them. I think they look nice. They scream 90s, so I don't really want to change them, you know. And usually when I do a modification to a car, it's something that's very subtle, and it's reversible. So if I do decide to go back to completely stock, I can, and this is exactly what I did for the sound system. But the problem with that is that this puts a lot of constraint on what you can do with the speaker placement, because you can't, cut into the door cards or put extra isolation, because then you have to remove the door panels, and I don't want to do that because I don't want to ruin the clips and everything. Even though I do believe those clips, not clips, those door cards were removed at some point, because there was definitely work done to the window regulators. At least I'm sure about the passenger side door. But yeah, so for the constraints I had, they sound as good as they can. The other thing is the amplifier that I installed isn't quite powerful enough for those speakers. This is a 60 watt RMS amplifier and the speakers are 80 watts RMS. If you don't know what RMS means, it's basically the power at which the speakers or the amplifier perform their best. And the reason why I went for this amplifier, it was because it was pretty cheap, and I spent most of my budget on the speakers, which was quite a bad planning on my side. But we're gonna ignore that. The only real issue with that is that if you want to listen to your music at a real high volume, like basically almost to the maximum, volume, the speakers are gonna start sounding distorted. They're gonna start to clip. This is the term. They start clipping. Essentially, the amplifier starts sending parasitic noise, and yeah. So I personally don't have that much of a problem with that. So this is why I went for this one. I could have gone for a cheaper, higher output amplifier, but then I'm not sure about the quality and the sound that it will be producing won't be quite right. So I decided to go for better brands, but they're cheaper option. So a bit of a lower level, but the sound quality when the volume is right is perfect. So yeah, I decided to go for that. And wiring is, I don't know if I did quite a good enough job on showing you how I installed the wiring. The cabling just runs through those plastic panels here and go towards the front speakers and the firewall where the power cable, the power lead is coming from the battery. And I didn't drill or cut anything. I just used the factory spot. There was a grommet in there that I removed so that I can run the cable through. And you can see here the wires go through here and towards the front of the car. And I just left this extra wires, so if I do decide to move this amplifier for some reason because I need space in the back or something, I can do that. Woofer is powered by its original power lead that is connected to the crossover with an adapter that I made, and you saw me install the crossover behind here in some of the previous clips. And as you can see, the tweeter is actually moved outside because there's no space here, obviously, because I put the mid-ranges here, so I essentially used the cups that are provided from the Volkswagen kit to install them outside the dash. Again, no modifications here. I just run the wire from behind the dash to here and basically installed it. And yeah. And the last thing I did is I replaced the power lead that comes directly from the radio with the one that comes from the amplifier, so that I can power the speakers from the amplifier and not from directly from the radio, obviously. And all the wires for that are run through the driver's side, and I also run another wire to go to that side, so I have amplified power for those speakers as well. And what I did is I just left the original plug that comes from the radio just inside of there. I just left it. So if I do decide to go back to the original system, like powered from the radio, I can do that as well. That's pretty much it for Chuck's audio upgrade. Again, I'm pretty happy with it, especially at the higher frequency range. It really performs way better than Golf there and in that segment. Also, the bass is pretty good for just two woofers in the doors. I'm not gonna put anything in the rear. I forgot to mention that. I'm not gonna put anything in the rear. I just don't want to ruin the originality because, again, this car from factory doesn't have. I don't know if I mentioned that this car doesn't have uh, speakers in the back from the factory, so there's no wiring there. So I don't want to mess with that and add wires and ruin the originality. So I'm not gonna put anything in the rear. I would add a subwoofer though. I think I would like to add a subwoofer in the future because, again, the bass is really good and those speakers are doing really good job producing bass. But when you go on a highway and you have more road noise and vibrations and stuff like that, the bass kind of really tends to disappear, and I don't like that. So I think I'm gonna add subwoofer because So to finish off, I would say I still prefer a Go Feta system over this one, just because it sounds way more natural. Also, she has speakers in the rear, and that makes the sound way more surround and makes you feel that you're really into the music. Also, with the addition of the subwoofer that I installed, it really brought that system to perfection for me. Whereas this system is more of, on the higher end, it really performs well in the higher frequency ranges, and most people prefer that. But I'm a fan of the more natural, like. Sound of the easyphone speakers that Volkswagen used in the 90s, and it's also the fact that they're 30 at this point, 31, 32 almost years old, uh, adds to uh, to the experience, in my opinion. And again, this system, I think most people would prefer that system, but for me, the more natural sound space, the more precise highs, which in this car, the highs really, you can really tell the different tones in the music. It's really precise, but um, again, for me, it's the more natural sound. Um, and the final question is, would I do it again? For Volkswagen Golf 3s and Volkswagens from this era, no. I think that their sound systems just sound better from the factory, and there really isn't a need of messing around. Well, of course, if you have only two speakers in the dashboard, or you have no speakers at all, because some of these cars don't have speakers or radio at all, yes, you can add aftermarket speakers, but I would still suggest you to go for the original ones. So yeah, for these cars, for Golf 3s and Volkswagen from this era, no, I would keep the original one. But for other cars, for example, my Peugeot, my father's, not my father's Peugeot 307, uh, uh, I upgraded the speakers in that because they just sounded awful and they were quite deteriorated, even though Peugeot 307s are quite newer than those cars. So yeah, it really depends on the car. But for Volkswagens from the 90s, no, I will just keep the original system. And yeah, so I'm gonna stop yapping because this video is getting way too long. And I will see you in the next one, which will be for Golf Eta. So, see ya. Okay, I said I'm leaving, but one last thing. Those folk house speakers really need a good mounting base. So I forgot to mention that because I didn't want to ruin the originality of the car. I just mounted them in the original spots, and I also don't use that much sound isolation, which really plays a role in how those speakers will sound. So if you want to get the best out of these speakers, besides having a good amplifier, you need to make sure that they have a strong mounting base. But I would say I still would prefer Golf Eta system because even if they were mounted completely perfectly, they would still be on the higher end of the sound. And yeah, so that is the last thing I wanted to say, just so that you can know. Okay, bye.